Now we have with us Dr. Ravindra Vittal Kale to talk about effects of climate change on hydrology, water resources, and soil. He joined the National Institute of Hydrology, NIH Roorkee, an autonomous R&D organization under Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, Ministry of Jal Shakti from 2010 as a Scientist B. Presently, he is serving as Scientist D at Western Himalayan Regional Center, NIH Jammu since April 2016. His research interests include hydrological and hydraulic modeling, remote sensing, and GIS applications in hydrology, climate, and land use, and land cover change impact on water resources, integrated water resources management, and water-related disaster risk assessment and management, etc. Recently, he underwent training on disaster management policy program as a Japan International Cooperation Agency Fellow and received master degree in disaster management policy program, flood disaster risk reduction. Over to you, Dr. Ravindra Vittal Kale, for your session on effects of climate change on hydrology, water resources, and soil.
Thank you, Aparna madam, uh, and thank you, Santosh sir, for giving me this opportunity. Actually, as we know that we are basically scientists and working with water sector, but it is an opportunity for me to interact with stalwart from industries, different education institute, and share my knowledge. Basically, in this talk, I will try to share how hydrology, water resources, and soil has impact of climate change on these resources, and these are very important resources for our sustainable development. And basically, uh, uh, climate change is the biggest challenge of 21st century. Uh, here we know that sun is the main driver of all the processes beginning in the universe, whereas water and circulation known as hydrological cycle is essential for existence of life on the earth and also for sustainable development. Uh, Basically, climate change is a change in the state of the climate that can be identified by changes in the mean and or the variability of this property and that persists for an extended period, typically decade or longer. From scientific inputs, we already know that global warming refers to average increase of the Earth's temperature due to the greenhouse effect caused by carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, and PFCs, and also sulfur hexafluoride. Uh, the global greenhouse gases concentration based on carbon dioxide is estimated to have increased from 280 ppm before the industrial revolution, that is in year 1750, to 379 ppm in 2005. And as you can see from this figure, first, that specifically the global warming has significantly accelerated since 1980, and the average temperature of 1998 was shown to be increased by 0.58 degrees centigrade degree higher than the average temperature between 1960 and 1990. And also, IPCC working group reports uh, shows that, which was prepared based on the physical science, suggests that atmosphere carbon dioxide concentration has increased by about 1.4 times during last 100 years in 2005. And it is estimated that the average global temperature has risen by 0.74 degrees centigrade in last 100 years. Uh, and According to the recent IPCC report, global mean temperature will continue to rise over the 21st century if greenhouse gases emission continue to unabated. Under the assumption of the concentration-driven RCPs, global mean surface temperature for 2081 to 2100 will be 1.1 degree to 4.8 degrees centigrade, and it is with much confidence it can be said that in 21st century temperature likely to exceed by 2 degrees centigrade as compared to that temperature between 1850 to 900. And this is these slides gives information about uh, recent report number 6 by IPCC. In this report, it is mentioned that human influence on climate change is now an established fact. It will make impact on atmosphere, cryosphere, ocean, and biosphere. Impact are increasingly extreme that leads to severe heat waves and droughts, floods and sea level rise, and cyclone and monsoon. And in this report, it is told that definitely global temperature will increase until 2050. The world will exceed 1.5 degree and 2 degree warming in the next 12 years. We will make irreversible changes to environment which we depend on for life on the earth. And this slide give information about uh, uh, regarding the projected changes in the temperature extremes by the end of 21st century. It is suggested that abnormally hot days and warm nights and heat waves are very likely to become more frequent. Cold days and cold nights are very likely to become very much less frequent. So these are the scenes about this temperature when we consider worldwide. Then regarding the temperature, in this report, it is mentioned that it is likely that the frequency of heavy precipitation or the proportion of total rainfall from heavy fall will increase in the 21st century over many areas of the globe. This is particularly the case in the high latitude and tropical region, and in winter in the northern latitudes, heavy rainfall associated with tropical cyclone are likely to increase with continued warming. Then this figure give information about hydrological cycle. The hydrological cycle is way of describing the storage, transformation, and movement of water between the atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, and the hydrosphere. And the hydrological cycle is one of the fundamental support on which nature depends. The total resources of water in the world is constant. And as we know that water covers some 70% of the Earth's surface, so it might be expected that there is a plenty of it. However, about 97% of the total water on the planet occurs in the ocean, and hence is a saline water. And the next large amount, that is 2.5%, occurs in glaciers and ice cap. So is again largely unavailable to humankind and for development. Less than 1% in the total occurs in the atmosphere, lake, rivers, and in the soil. And this water we can use. This is a teeny percentage. Yet it is the small amount that we rely on the to support the land-based biosphere. The global hydrological cycle includes many different components reacting in complex, dynamic, uh, often non-linear way to external forcing such as, but not limited to, climate change. While hydrological impact of climate change, for example, spatial and temporal alteration in water balance, stream flow, and extreme events like floods and drought typically occur at regional or local scale, but they can trigger modification that leads to large scale or even global change in the water cycle. And we can see the impact of climate change basically in Arctic Sea. This is the ice cover is reduced by 50% between 1984 to 2016. Then this is a water cycle. There are a number of processes that takes place in this water cycle, and basically it is virtually certain that in the long term global precipitation will increase with increased global mean surface temperature, and it will likely increase by 1 to 3% per degree rise in the temperature rise. Also, changes in average precipitation in warmer world will exhibit substantial spatial variation. Some regions will experience increases, other regions will experience decreases, and yet other will not experience significant changes at all. There is high confidence that the contrast of annual mean precipitation between dry and wet region, and that the contrast between wet and dry season will increase over most of the globe as temperature increase. And this is a figure shows the climate change impact on global cycle. And basically, in drier region, heat trapped by the atmosphere will cause more evaporation and more precipitation, and decrease in snowfall, snowpacks, glaciers will result in earlier peak stream flow, and ultimately reduce the late summer water runoff. And this is very important when we talk about the security of drinking water during summer months. Also in the drier region, the increased temperature and evaporation and reduced soil moisture will lead to severe drought between the rains as well as long-term droughts. And it is very important from hydrological point of view. When we talk about the wetter region, there will be increasing rainfall from heavy precipitation event, lead to increasing flooding and sediments. And already we have witnessed flooding and sediment in last years or last 20 years. Then there is an increase in water temperature, which is important for aquatic life to sustain aquatic life. Also, increased water use by plant and increased evaporation will occur in wetter region. When we consider about wetter and dry region, in these both the region, there will be decrease in light rain. That means our infiltration capacity will decrease, and so that we have to go for water conservation technology, advanced water conservation technology. And these suggest about the what is the impact of climate change on the water resources. Basically, climate change is going to change in timing and amount of river flows, and this is important for sustainable irrigations, and also alteration in timing and amount of river flow. We have to require our changes in water resources system operations, and this require engineering techniques and advanced engineering methods and models to operate water resources system in real time. Then there is an impact of climate change on the sea level, and due to this impact, there are number of sectors like forest, coastal areas, agriculture, water resources, ecosystem, and health is going to adversely impact. Then when we talk sustainability in catchment level, then these climate change have impact on hydrology, water resources, and ecosystems, and we are required to take this all these impacts on a number of ecosystems, human systems, and hydrology and water resource systems. Then I talked about a hydrological cycle. When we consider about climate change, soil is an important and often neglected element of climate system. It is the second largest carbon stores or sink after the ocean. In fact, there are several ways that climate change will affect the soil. Soil are linked to the atmospheric and climate system through the carbon, nitrogen, and hydrologic cycle. And basically, when we consider about the carbon store, soil can store about 2,500 petagram of carbon, and this is second largest storage after carbon storage in the ocean. And basically, burning of fossil fuels, decomposition of soil organic matter sends carbon gases into the atmosphere, and photosynthesis locks the atmospheric carbon up in the plant. So we require to come up with a drive to plantation or increase our forest area. Then deposition of organic rich sediment on the ocean floor locks carbon up in geological rocks and sediment, also very important. Then another important cycle is nitrogen cycle, and there are number of pools where nitrogen can be absorbed from the atmosphere and also released from soil into the atmosphere. And this figure really shows the different processes that occur in the soil. Basically, the carbon-based gases, that is carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen-based gases, nitrogen oxide, are important greenhouse gases. So as carbon dioxide and methane, nitrogen oxide level changes in the atmosphere, there will be corresponding changes in the soils, and these are very important to maintain the soil health. And this is a very important aspect, that is soil organic carbon. Is the carbon that remain in the soil after partial decomposition of any material produced by the living organism, and this is important to maintain the food security. It constitutes a key element of global carbon cycle through atmosphere, vegetation, soil, river, and the ocean. Basically, this map produced by FAO recently in 2017, and this soil organic carbon map, global soil organic carbon map, provide user with very useful information to monitor the soil condition, identify degraded areas, set restoration targets, explore SOC sequestration potential, support the greenhouse gas emission reporting under the UNFCCC, and make evidence-based decision to mitigate and adapt to the changing climate. And these are the impact of the climate change on the soil. Due to increasing temperature, there is basically loss of soil organic matter, and soil organic matter is very important to maintain the food security. Then increase rainfall, there is a nutrient leaching will increase in productivity in the arid region, and reduction in soil organic matter if there is increase in the rainfall. Then this map basically shows that the land cover drastically converted into agricultural land, pasture, and build-up area as compared to pre-industrial land cover. Basically, in India and Asia and some part of Africa, there is drastic change in land cover, and forest is converted into agriculture or build-up area. Then another aspect, important aspect, is water and pollution, because as we consider in Asia or Africa continent, a large number of population is depend on very small number of water resources. And as mentioned, if 5 degree centigrade temperature will increase, then it has this climate change impact on food, water, ecosystem, extreme weather events, risk of irreversible changes. And these figure give what will happen in different sector when there is a rise of temperature by 5 degree. So it is very important to maintain temperature below 2 degrees centigrade. Then this slide shows, when we talk about impact of climate change on Himalayan glacier, it could be seen that the small glacier may vanish in long run. Out of 34,999 total Himalayan glacier, around 33,149 glacier will retreating, 18 will advancing, and only 1,752 are not retreating. So it is alarming in case of Himalaya. This climate change will adversely going to impact glaciers in Himalaya region. Basically, glacier in lower altitude losing water at much faster rate, and This is again water security in Himalayan region will be at stake. In long run, it could cause water scarcity in the region fed by low altitude glaciers. And these are the projections. Uh, projection how global scale extreme sea level will resulting in 21st century, and the resulting extreme sea levels are generally made up of four components: tide, storm surge, wave setup, and regional relative sea level rise. Projection of future coastal flooding require not only knowledge of the magnitude of each of these physical processes, but also their relative timing, that is and an understanding of probability of occurrence of extreme events. The terms extreme sea level is used here to represent the value of TSL which occurs, for example, once in 100 years. And the result are that when we consider Asian region, then there is a mostly in Asian region, the predicted extreme sea rise will be between 2.5 meter to 5 meter in next in 21st century. And when we talk about this map, this shows that top 15 countries where most people globally are exposed to coastal flooding, and India is one of these countries, which India is likely to suffer due to coastal flooding, and we require to strategy to mitigate these floods and save our populations. Basically, this figure shows the size and number of marine dead zones, and these dead zones are important because these zones means where oxygen level is very low, and this is not good condition for marine life. So in American and this coastal area, these dead zones are very much significant. So then we will talk about the impact of climate change on groundwater. Because yeah, we consider fresh water, then groundwater reservoir is the biggest river than the surface water. Therefore, climate change impact on groundwater is going to be drastically changed in the future in 21st century. Uh, this map particularly shows that the expected changes in groundwater in the 21st century in the different region. Based on this map, the Indian region is considered the groundwater scarcity will be felt more in the Gangetic belts. Also, uh, we can we can see these results from this figure. This map, similarly, this map also shows the terrestrial water storage trend and global water trace hotspot reported by WMO in their recent report. As per this report, around 3.6 billion people had inadequate access to the water at least 1 month per year in 2018. By 2015, this is expected to rise to more than 5 billion. Since 2000, flood-related disasters have risen by 134% compared with the two previous decades. Most of the flood-related deaths and economic losses were recorded in Asia, and the number of duration of drought also increased by 29% over the same period. Most of the drought related death occurred in Africa. In India, terrestrial water storage lost at rate of at least 3 centimeter per year. In some region, the loss has been over 4 centimeter per year too. India topmost hotspot of the terrestrial water storage loss according to the WMO analysis, with highest in northern part. And when we talk about uh, the climate change impact on Indian river basin, from this map, we can see that the impact of climate change on the Indian river basin uh, uh, is drastically felt. and most of the basin where water scarcity will be failed, and mostly the river basin will face water stress, and Mahi rivers, east flowing rivers between Penna, Kanyakumari will face absolutely water scarcity. So we require planning to face the problem of water scarcity in these river basins. Then, as hydrology has impact on water-related disasters, and in this figure, we can see the record of number of all natural disaster in the world, and based on EM data, that data, and this second figure shows the record of number of flood disaster in the world. It clearly shows that flood events account for nearly half number of all the disaster worldwide. And most important conclusion from this figure is that the economical losses higher in developed country, but underdeveloped or developing country, there is less economical losses, but human losses and livestock losses are very high. And we can see from this figure, and this shows the record of flood disaster between 900 to 2010, and we can see that there are a number of disasters occurred in this ASEAN region. And as already I have told that flood is the one of the biggest disaster in terms of losses, economical losses, as well as losses of human lives and livestock. And in this case, this figure compared the disaster that occurred in 2020 as compared to average disaster in 2000 to 2019. And it can be clearly seen that in even the last year there was impact of COVID, but disaster are increased in last years, and thus total number of death also increased, because and also total impacted person also increase, and these are mostly total affected people, mostly lies in Asia or Africa continent. And as I told, there is high economical losses occurred in developed country. And this map basically shows the current urban water scarcity. Uh, uh, and in this map, we can clearly see that basically ASEAN region, the urban center or urban cities in Asia region are mostly going to impact due to climate change. And India having topmost water scarce urban population, which has very adverse impact, and it is the biggest challenge to achieve goal of development of sustainable cities. And when we talk about future projection, in future, the global urban population facing water scarcity is projected to increase from 933 million, that is one third of global urban population in 2016, to 1.6 to 2.3 billion people in 2050, with India projected to be the most severely affected in terms of growth in water scarce urban populations. So it is very important point regarding India. And these are the projection about the soil erosion, soil erosions. So basically, when we talk about the sustainability challenges, there is challenges like insufficient data, inadequate tools, poor analytical skills, lack of funding, weak institutional framework, and weak political leadership and willpower. So I think academia, then different institutions, and different private organization, NGOs should come together and to tackle these challenges, and to reduce risk due to these water related disasters. At last, My conclusions are increasing temperatures are resulting in global and regional precipitation changes, leading to shift in rainfall patterns and agricultural seasons, with a major impact on food security and human health and well-being. The disturbances in the hydrological cycle will lead to various water-related management issues, hazard which will cause socio-economic disturbances in the region. The disturbances in carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle will lead to soil health issue, which ultimately cause food security problems. The number of people suffering water stress is expected to soar by population increase and dwindling availability. Improved water management, monitoring, early warning needed in face of growing water-related hazard and stress, and investment in green energy and new technology will lead a rapid cut in emission of the carbon dioxide, putting the world on track to limit global warming to around 1.5 degree above the pre-industrial level is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravindra Kale, for that very detailed and informative session. I think we have a lot to do together. Looking forward to working with you in the future as well. Thank you so much for joining us in
Thank
the
you,
summit.
madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. And next we have